2 years ago, Helldivers 2 was released, and since then we have had 5 major updates. There have been a lot of ups and a lot of downs. Today we're asking the question of which major update was the best and which was the worst. In this video, we are just gonna talk about all the updates in the order from worst to best, in my opinion. So we're gonna get started at number 5, Into the Unjust. Into the Unjust was really hyped up before release. I was super excited for all the content. The hive worlds, the new enemies, the new mission types, and you know what? I actually ended up really enjoying all of the content in the update. But when you look back at the release of the update and what really happened there, it was a nightmare. I think this was the darkest period in the history of the game, without a doubt. The game was rendered unplayable for so many people. Performance was terrible, it was crashing constantly, it was hard-locking people's PCs and sometimes causing damage. It was unacceptable. This caused the Helldivers community to spiral out of control for months. It was a dark time. I remember lots of the other Helldivers YouTubers leaving to play other games for a while, like exclusively Helldivers guys, jumping over to Deep Rock and Space Marine and what have you. This was the breaking point for a lot of people. A few of my friends were close to quitting Helldivers 2 for good. Arrowhead clearly didn't do any testing at all before the update was released. It was handled so poorly that I lost a lot of confidence in Arrowhead, and I was convinced that the game would be stuck like this forever. Thankfully, Arrowhead managed to fix the game and finally reduce the file size as well, eventually. If we ever have another update with the same problems as Into the Unjust, that will be an unmitigated disaster, and I pray we never end up in this spot ever again. And just to reiterate, great content in this update. I actually like all of it still, but it did so much damage to the fundamental technical aspects of the game, it was unreal. Number 4, for me, is Escalation of Freedom. Escalation of Freedom was the very first major update we ever got for Helldivers 2, and it actually came with a pretty good amount of new content, and I like a lot of the content that was added. This update introduced us to Super Helldive, and they added Impalers, Jet Troopers, enemy fortresses, the swamp biome, and new missions and objectives, so it was a pretty substantial update for all players. But unfortunately, all of that was overshadowed by the endless nerfs and the general direction of game balance that Arrowhead chose to go down. This was the boiling point for the community in terms of game balance. Everyone was so fed up with the endless nerfs that some people quit never to return, and I was almost one of those people. After Escalation of Freedom came out, I actually quit Helldivers 2 myself until they released the 60-day balance patch, which was universally considered to be one of the best patches we've ever gotten for the game. It still is. Arrowhead just kept making so many weird decisions with balance leading up to Escalation of Freedom, and then it really culminated there. Like nerfing fire right before releasing the Freedom's Flame Warbond. If Arrowhead did that today, just imagine the community's outrage when they would read that. That would have been fucking wild if that happened today. And they continually ignored the outcry for buffs while adding more things to kill us, and even adding Diff 10, while nerfing everything into the ground. It made no sense. The update itself wasn't really that bad, but I actually think that the impact of the content was overshadowed by the balance so hard, and it was so tone-deaf to keep nerfing things into the ground. Again, the content was good, but it just didn't matter to the players. According to Steam, less players showed up for Escalation of Freedom's launch than the balance patch that fixed all the problems in Escalation of Freedom. Let that sink in. More players showed up for the patch that fixed the balance problems than the first major update for the game. That's Looney Tunes, man. That's fucking crazy. I genuinely think that if Escalation of Freedom was released with buffs instead of nerfs, people would remember it pretty fondly. But unfortunately, Arrowhead just had to keep nerfing things, and they didn't understand that this would overall be a detriment to the game. Thankfully, they have mostly changed their tune since then. They still want to make a punishing game, but Escalation of Freedom was on another level. Next up, we have Machinery of Oppression. Machinery of Oppression is our newest update, and I think that this has been pretty good so far. They didn't break the game or nerf anything into the ground, and I actually really enjoyed fighting the cyborgs, and Cyberstan was one of the coolest events we've ever had in the Galactic War, in my opinion. The only issue I had with this update, and this might be a me problem, was that I expected more to come out of such a major update. We didn't get any new permanent features or mechanics added to the game, and we are long overdue for a lot of features. Armor customization, vehicle customization, a clan system, more ship upgrades, or even more weapon customization, like, for secondaries and support weapons. But we didn't get any of that, and it's a real shame. I really loved all the content in this update, but there simply wasn't enough in my opinion. We got a new biome, a new mission type, 3 new enemies, which are part of a new sub-faction, which I really enjoyed, and of course the Cyberstan event and all that was really awesome, but there just wasn't enough for me. However, I do think that this update did have good quality, even though it was low in quantity overall. If they can continue to deliver this level of quality with more content and give us new major features, then the next few updates are gonna be amazing. They're gonna be so good. I think the second best update was Heart of Democracy. Heart of Democracy, in my opinion, is kind of forgotten. I don't see a lot of people talking about the additions we got in this update, or even the Battle of Super Earth anymore. But in this update, we just saw the introduction of so many new things. We got Seif soldiers on the battlefield for the first time. We got actual cities, like full cities to fight in, which has not only changed the missions we play, but it has also changed the Galactic War in a positive way. We got some incredible new missions, and we got a bunch of cool units for the Illuminate. We got weapon customization, which is one of the best and biggest additions to the game since launch, and again, how can we forget the Battle of Super Earth? One of the most anticipated events in the history of the game, and possibly the most impactful fight we have ever fought. That really was a special time. The game felt so fresh during the battle for Super Earth, and I hope that we can somehow get an update on par with Heart of Democracy someday. The only thing that held this update back for me was that I was experiencing a lot of crashes on day 1. It was pretty rough, but they managed to iron that out pretty fast. But that first day was kind of rough. The whole update as a whole, though, was so good. I'm a huge fan of this era of Helldivers 2. My pick for the #1 best update in the history of Helldivers 2 is Omens of Tyranny. It just had to be first place. It had to. I watch the Game Awards every year. I'm always interested in who's gonna win the awards and what reveals we're gonna see at the Game Awards, and I did not see this coming at all. When you saw Craig Lee Thomas walk out on stage in a full Helldivers outfit, you knew that something magical was about to happen. In a single trailer, they showed the return of the Illuminate, the FRV, and our first taste of urban combat. And at the very end, they told us when we could play all this new content. Immediately. Yes, the Illuminate literally invaded Calypso during the Game Awards. It was insane. And yes, the Illuminate were underbaked when they released, and they still are. But nothing can match the impact and the excitement of adding the third faction to the game. The only other time I was this hyped about the game was the ODST trailer, and that's because I'm a massive fan of Halo, but the Illuminate was something that everyone was excited about. And all things considered, it was actually a good update. I can't remember any major balance problems or technical issues from this era of the game, so I would say that it went over pretty smoothly. Omens of Tyranny was one of those rare special moments in Helldivers 2 where you get the same feelings that you had during the launch of the game. It was so incredible to be there for it. While I do think that Heart of Democracy was the most substantial update for Helldivers 2, I think that Omens of Tyranny is just special. It's on another level. It was such a great time, such a good time to be playing the game. But all of this just begs the question, what will the next major update look like? I think that the #1 thing the next update needs is a major feature. We need more progression, more customization. The main thing I want personally is a clan system, something that allows large groups of players to work together and get rewarded for it. A clan system would give us new social features, new ways to cooperate on the galactic war, and it could even give us new progression systems. Imagine if there were new weapons and stratagems that could only be unlocked by working together with your clan, kind of like how Warframe handles it. I think that this would be the best way to add new, free content to the game. You could add so many things this way: armor sets, cosmetics like weapon patterns, or armor patterns, or vehicle patterns, you name it. Maybe they could add new types of samples that you could donate to a project that your clan is working on. It could unlock a new weapon, a new stratagem, whatever. Maybe your clan could work on a project that temporarily buffs you in the galactic war. Maybe it gives you a temporary stratagem for a mission, or a free booster for all your missions. Like, there's so much you could do with the clan system. It's just, I need it. I need it right now. And I know that the Illuminate have already had 2 major updates, but they still need more content. I really want to fight more actual aliens instead of voteless and flesh mobs. In my opinion, that is just a lot more interesting. I've been imagining an update where we travel through the Meridia Singularity, just like the Illuminate did. They came to attack Super Earth, but we could invade through there to attack their homeworlds. Imagine what their worlds might look like. Their cities, their terrifying new units. The atmosphere would be so cool. If they could possibly make an update similar to what I just described, I think it would be a monumental step forward for the game. But really, I just hope that the next update is substantial, polished, and keeps the current level of quality while adding at least one major feature to the game. But I want to know what you want to see next in Helldivers 2, and what your favorite update is. Let me know down in the comments. And as always, I want to thank my Hell Troopers: Swickety, Archangel Shipyards, Dirty Nightmare, Findas16, ODST Exotic, John Droll, Norse Diver, Melek Paragon 9231, Gustavo Marcus 99, and Sire Milk. Thank you all for continuing to support the channel. It means a lot to me, and we're doing really good right now, so it's not going to waste. And that is all I have for today. This is Grand Moff Togan of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.